Hey everybody, my name is Taft Smoot, and this video is for the interview that I had with a successful entrepreneur. I had a wonderful opportunity to sit down with one of my really close friends, Bret Wursten, and to discuss the success of his business and to ask him a few questions about being an entrepreneur. He is the CEO of a company here in Cache Valley. It's called Central Valley Machine, and they are a machine parts manufacturer for companies like Boeing, NASA, Disney, all different kinds of companies that have different machines, even down to parts for bridges that construction companies use. And so they do a lot of different production in different areas. And so it was really fun to sit down and talk with him. His story starts back in 1976. His parents started Central Valley Machine. It was a very small farming equipment company at the time. And in 2010, he actually had the opportunity to purchase the company from his parents, and it was a very small company at the time. And I know what you're thinking, this isn't your standard build your company up from the ground type story, and it definitely isn't, but Bret is one of the most successful entrepreneurs that I know and that I've talked to in my time. And so I had a wonderful time talking to him. He shared with me some of the things that he's learned, some of the trials he's learned from a managerial standpoint, from creating a business and also to managing a business. And so one of the first things he talked about is, as an entrepreneur, you have certain skills, and we've talked about it in class, that you have certain skills and abilities, and you need to find people for others. When I went to the interview, it was actually quite interesting. I showed up a little early, and he was talking with his CFO and one of his head foremen and a couple different people in his office about a big purchase that they're having to do on a machine. And it was so interesting to see him communicate and to delegate. And I think that stood out to me up front, the importance of working with people and being able to communicate and to work hard with other people in that business setting. He shared early on with me that a lot of their success comes from their employees, but that their employees are one of the hardest parts about a business. Especially early on, you have to be very smart about who you work with and who you hire. And he talked about how that can impact your business for the better. If you're working on creating an environment, a lot of these new companies, as well as his, have created this environment for a company and for their workers to want to come to work, to spend time there, and to spend time with their coworkers and to enjoy what they do. I asked him a lot about the market that they're in and how they adapt and how they grow, and he shared with me that because of the way that they run their business, they're able to grow, and that is that they only have parts of their business in different areas. So they have like 35% of their business is in aerospace, 10% in medical equipment, and 10% here, and so on and so forth. And that allows them to grow no matter where the market might go. Obviously, the market will fluctuate, he said, and that a lot of their success is based upon what's happening in politics. And so when government spending is higher towards aerospace exploration and things like that, they do a lot more business. And I guess my takeaway from that was that we need to be able to adapt and diversify based upon the circumstances we're given. We're not always handed everything, and so it's important to adapt to those situations. He then shared with me the importance that it plays to always build off your own skill set. He shared that in the last 10 years they haven't had to finance any equipment, and that has been so impactful on them that they pay for everything in cash and don't have any outstanding debts. And then to close the interview, I asked what were his keys to success, and my takeaways from this, from him sharing those with me, was one, to go somewhere you know. He was familiar with this business and he knew the market. And then two, be willing to adapt. He shared with me over and over the diversity of his business. And then three, his number one advice to entrepreneurs was don't be afraid to fail. And I think that's so important that we all realize that failure isn't an option, but sometimes we have to be able to willing to accept our mistakes as we continue to grow and to build our business in the market that we're in.